What is up, guys? TopTierYugioh here, and today I wanted to do some test hands with the Dogmatika Zoodiac deck that I've been featuring on the channel lately. But this is not going to be a normal test hand video. I really wanted to spice things up a bit, and so today we're going to be discussing how these hands will play out against some of the top decks of this current metagame, and discuss how the hands could go, and ultimately how we're going to win these games. And so the way that this is going to work is we're going to draw a test hand, and then we're going to roll a die. And then this is going to determine what we're going to be playing against. And for this, 1 to 2 on the dice is going to be a combo deck. 1's going to be Rock, 2's going to be Infernal Knights, 3 and 4 is going to be Eldlich, 3 is going to be Synchro Eldlich, but 4 is going to be Dogmatika Synchro Eldlich. And while you might be thinking that these are the exact same thing, they're actually quite different, and that the normal Synchro build has more room for hand traps and flex spots and extra deck cards for a more diverse combo, whereas the Dogma build is generally more powerful, and them having a Dogmatika engine kind of complicates things for us since we're playing Maximus. And then finally, 5 is going to be Dogmatika Invoked, into another Dogma deck that's also easily the best control deck of the current format. And then if we roll a 6, we'll just re-roll. I couldn't think of what to make for the sixth spot. So let's go ahead and get into these test hands. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I think a lot of you guys are going to enjoy this one, and if you think so too, I'd really appreciate it if you went ahead and liked this video and or subscribed to the channel, because it truly does help the channel out a lot and doesn't really cost you anything at all. But also, I have a lot of really awesome videos planned in the near future that I think you're going to want to be notified for, so be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. But let's go ahead and get into these test hands. This is going to be really cool. So let's go ahead and get into this first test hand. So I've already power shuffled. I'm doing a couple more shuffles before drawing this hand just to further randomize the deck. Let's see what we get. So we have Rat, Triple Tack, Combo, Imperm, and Bunny Blast. So this is our 5 card hand. And let's see what we're going to be playing against. So we rolled a 1, so we're going to be playing against Adamancipators. And I'm going to go ahead and draw a hand for Adamancipators as well, just to see if they have any hand traps. They usually don't play too many, but you never know if they might have a Gamma or an Imperm or something like that. So let's go ahead and look at their hand as well before discussing how we're going to play this hand out. And of course we are going to play this hand blind, but again, we still want to know what the opponent might have. So the opponent has Foolish Burial, Kokimiru Guardian, Doki Doki, Revival Golem, and the Tenyix card. So they don't have any hand traps, and so we're going to be able to play freely. And of course, we play this out blind, but if our opponent had a hand trap, we would, get hand trapped at the best time. So the way this is going to work out is, I think generally right now with people not playing Nibiru in the main deck, I think really when you have Rat, going for a Megaclops play is actually almost always correct, because most decks don't have a way to deal with it in the main outside of like Triple Tack, which you probably won't be able to, they probably won't even be able to use against the Megaclops, or Forbidden Droplets. And so it really, they would be forced to draw into their unsearchable cards to deal with it. Oh, or Imperm, which is in a lot of decks, but if they had an Imperm, they won't let you get that far. So I usually think that Megaclops is the way to go with this. So especially because we have a follow-up play and we have other defense as well. So for that, we would start by normal summoning Rat, activating the effect to dump a Ram to the graveyard. Then we can go into Shakanine, activate Shakanine effect, bring back Ram, Drident, use Drident's effect to destroy the Ram effect, revive Shakanine. Tiger Mortar back some material under your Shakanine, and then use Shakanine's effect to revive Drident. Then we link all 3 of these into a Megaclops. So then from here, we would set our copy of Imperm and then pass. We could also set the combo. It's not going to really do anything, but it could be a decent bluff. I think on the other hand, you might want to keep it in hand just so if you draw Tinky or Thoroughblade, that's 5 cards in the deck, or Barrage, so 6 cards in the deck. You have something to discard, or something to maybe discard off of an App Cologne. So this is, I think, better to keep in hand since it really won't do anything at all on the board. It would just simply be a bluff. So we'll just hold this, and then we would pass turn with Megaclops set Imperm. So then for the Adamancipator player, let's see what they draw. They draw a Beta, and I'm not sure what they do in this scenario. I think we just win with Megaclops. Like, they have to draw into Imperm. If they have stuff on board, they can't activate Imperm immediately. So really, I'm not quite sure what the out is. I think we just win this game because they didn't have a hand trap, they don't have Imperm or droplets, so this is pretty much an auto win. So let's go ahead and get into the next game. That's the one kind of boring thing about Adamancipators, I think. It's like the results of the game almost entirely depend on the starting hands and who goes first or second. And in a hand like this or in this type of matchup, it's just like if you go first and make Megaclops, you win. If you go second, you probably lose, especially if you don't have enough hand traps. Oh, I just realized I was shuffling off camera. I want to shuffle on camera so you guys know I'm not like cheating or anything. Alright, so let's draw this next hand. We have Maximus combo again, Thoroughblade, Ghost Ogre, and a Ash Blossom. So we do have 2 hand traps. We also have a Zoo Monster and a Maximus. So we have a play here. Let's see what we're playing against. We're going to be playing against 4, so that was Dogmatika Synchro Eldlich. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a hand for that. Then we'll know if they have any hand traps. Okay, so they drew a hand of Punishment, Tuning, Fleurdelis, Conquistador, and Imperm. So what we would do with this hand, again playing blind, is really you only have one set of plays. You have your Thoroughblade, you go through your Zoo stuff, and then you Maximus. That's pretty much all you can do. So, I mean, you might have to destroy the Thoroughblade, or sorry, destroy the Drident with itself to set up the Maximus, so it becomes tricky whether or not you want to do that, but you obviously have to start with Thoroughblade. And so we're going to start by normal summoning Thoroughblade, activating the effect. People aren't really playing Ogre, so you don't really have anything to worry about. So you discard combo, draw into Ecclesia. Wow, that changes the entire hand actually. So that's honestly one of the best possible draws outside of Nadir's Servant. So then from here, we're going to go into our Zoodiac plays. And since we do have combo, we want to make sure we get 5 engrave. And then maybe even more, so that if once we banish one with Maximus, we still have 5 for the combo. So I think we go through our entire Zoo lineup here. So we go Kong, Borbo, Tiger Mortar, Shakanine, Drident. So we've got 6 Zoo monsters. We went through all of them. And let's just consolidate some space here, but we went through all of them just again to set up the combo. We got the extra one so that we can banish one for the Maximus and still have enough. Then from here, we're going to special summon the Ecclesia. And it's just a standard combo from this point. If you guys would like to see more Dogmatika Zoodiac combos, check out the combo video that I posted just yesterday. A link to that will be in the top right corner of the screen as well as in the description down below. So definitely check that out if you want to see more combos. But from here, it's pretty much standard. You special summon the Ecclesia, activate the effect, and this will be the first moment that your opponent has to really hand trap you. And if I were playing against this deck, I would want to stop that Ecclesia because the Dogmatika engine just does so much. You don't want to have to deal with a Fleurdelis or a Punishment, especially when as this Eldlich Dogmatika player has, you only have this one starter play, no extenders. And so you want to kind of minimize the amount of defense they have. And I think Imperm would be one way to do that. Whereas if you try to hold the Imperm, if you try to use it going second, the only thing you're going to be able to stop is Drident. That's stopping one thing, but stopping this Ecclesia can potentially get rid of maybe 2 to 3 disruptions that your opponent could have. So I think this definitely gets hit with the Imperm. So then from here, we're not getting the Ecclesia effect, but we're also not locked out of the extra deck yet, which I guess doesn't really matter, but yeah. So what we would do at this point is activate Drident's effect, detaching Shakanine or Tiger Mortar, either one. And then we're going to destroy the Ecclesia. Oh, we actually could... Yeah, wait. We chain to the Imperm's effect to destroy the Ecclesia. That way the Ecclesia can resolve engrave. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think about that at the moment, but we do that so that we can play around the Imperm a little bit. And now we would resolve the Ecclesia's effect. And then with that, we would search Punishment. Searching Punishment because we already have Maximus. And then we can search Fleurdelis in the end phase with Titanclad. So once again, we're going to be special summoning Ecclesia, activating the effect. The opponent chains Imperm. We chain Drident to destroy the Ecclesia. That's going to allow the Ecclesia to resolve while also putting an extra deck monster in the graveyard to banish from Maximus. So that serves a bunch of different purposes and is definitely the correct play. So from here, we're going to banish that Shakanine from the graveyard to special summon a copy of Maximus. And then we're going to activate Maximus's effect. And then for that, we would be sending to the graveyard Titanclad, and definitely Titanclad. Now the questionable thing here is whether or not we want to send App Cologne and set up for a Schism play. And so because we saw that they're playing Imperm, we know that they're not playing Adamancipators probably. They generally don't play Imperm because it's not a monster, and it doesn't really do anything for them. So they're probably not on Adamancipators. They're probably on like Eldlich, Invoked, Control, something like that. They're probably not on combo. Well, Dragon Link plays Imperm, but people don't play Dragon Link as often. And then it could be Infernal Knights. So you really have to worry about Infernal Knights, Eldlich, or Invoked here. And so against those decks, which of those does Winda really hurt? Maybe Infernal Knights kind of hurts Eldlich. So is it really worth discarding another Disruption to set that up? Maybe not. And so App Cologne might not be the best card to send here. I think it might... Or we could still send App Cologne, but then just discard a copy of Schism. And that way on the opponent's turn with Punishment, we can maybe dump Construct, add it back. So we can kind of play it the slow route, but I'm not quite too sure what we should do here. This is just one of the decisions you have to make in this deck. And I guess when in doubt, Omega is always a pretty good option. That way you could at least use it to recycle resources later on. So yeah, let's go with Omega. So we sent Titanclad Omega, and then the opponent, they would send... Let's see, let's look at their extra deck. And we're going to look at this from their perspective. They're playing the Dogma engine. So I think they definitely dump Titanclad Intis. And then they would use Intis to destroy Drident for sure. Nothing we can do about that, but at least we have combo live on the opponent's turn. And then from here, we would set our punishment, proceed to end phase, and then activate our Titanclad. We would use that to search a copy of Fleurdelis. We could also get a copy of Ecclesia again, but now we know they're on Dogma, so we know they're probably playing Eldlich or Invoked. We've narrowed it down to that. Against both of those, you definitely want Disruption. You want to be able to negate an Alistair if you need to, but you also want to be able to, or an Ecclesia for that matter, but you also want to be able to negate cards like Needle Fiber. So Fleurdelis is definitely the way to go. Although we do already have Ogre Ash. We definitely need a starter play for next turn too. But we could also just dump Titanclad with Punishment again if we had... But we were only playing the one Titanclad, so we might have to use Omega to... No, that doesn't work either. So how do we get a starter card for next turn? That's going to be... That's something that we definitely need. So maybe Ecclesia is the play here. Just so that we have a way to play on the opponent's turn, because we're only playing one Titanclad right now, and so we can't dump another copy with the Punishment. And so in order to set up a starter, we might have to just search it right here and not have that defense. Yeah, I think that's probably the play, especially since we do once again have Ash Ogre Punishment. I think we'd be fine without Fleurdelis. We at least won't like die. It's not like we're playing Adamancipators or another deck like that to where you really need maximum defense. And then the opponent, what they would do in the end phase is search or they could special summon Ecclesia actually. That puts a monster on board. So they special Ecclesia, use the effect to search. They already have a Fleurdelis, so they probably search Punishment. Oh, they drew Punishment. So you search another copy of Fleurdelis then, if they play a second copy. Oh, that's it. So this is the exact same deck that I profiled like a couple of weeks ago, but I honestly don't remember all the cards in the deck at the moment. So they would actually summon it to the field and have nothing to search off of it. So that kind of sucks. But from here, we would just have to pass turn. Then for them, they would draw into an Imperm. They can't really use it right now. And so they would have pretty much Tuning as their only line of play. And then we have Ash, Ogre, and then set Punishment. So they'd kind of be forced to play into the Punishment. And I wonder how how they would play around that in this type of hand. I think you would definitely activate tuning and see if that maybe gets you a play, like off of the mill, of course, but other than that, you really don't have very many ways to play through the hand that we have. So you search the Jet Synchron, mill Hakero, that's pretty good. I think you might, if you're them, you might just have to normal summon Jet. Let's see, you go into Link Haribo. No, actually, no, you don't go into Link Haribo. I think you... Go into Link Haribo. Nah, yeah, I don't like Link Haribo here. Instead, just link with the Ecclesia and go into a Needle. I think that's probably the way to go, just to play around some stuff. You don't want to like use your Jet effect too early if you don't have to. So go straight into Needle Fiber, activate Needle Fiber's effect, and then we have the option here of stopping that with Punishment, Ogre, or Ash. Punishment or Ogre will both just remove it from the field, but they won't stop the effect. Ash will actually stop the effect, but Ash is, I think, if possible, we could always just hold that for the Scarlet that we know they're going to set with the Hakero that they milled. And so that could be important for stopping them from getting to a Lord. If they already had Lord, they probably use it to deal with the punishment that we have set. And so I think that we know they don't have Lord. We know they're going to set a Scarlet. We can use this Ash to kind of cut off their access to their Lords. And so we probably don't do that. I think that Ogre here might actually be the best way to deal with the Needle Fiber. Simply because we don't have to target something. I think I'd rather save the punishment because it targets, so we could hit different, more... There are better times we could use it. Like we could dump Intis and destroy 2 cards instead of just stopping 1. So I think we Ogre the Needle Fiber, and then they would still use the effect to summon maybe like an O-Lion. Then you activate Jet effect, discarding Fleurdelis since that's dead. Revive the Jet. And that's if you want to play super aggressive in this type of deck. Because what they could do from here is go into Borg Blocker, and that'll get the O-Lion token, go Rorodon, and still end on Savage Dragon. But the downside here is that we have the punishment still. So I think if they make this play, we just activate punishment, and then we would dump Intis to the graveyard. We would destroy both the O-Lion and the Jet Synchron here, and that would leave them with just a token, forcing them to really just be on having an extender or not. And knowing that they're playing Dogma, the odds are they probably don't have an extender that they can use here. And so for them, they probably just set the Imperm, set the Conquistador, set the punishment, and then end phase banish Hakero to set a copy of Scarlet. So in this duel right now, it looks like we'd definitely be losing because we still have to deal with the Eldlich engine. And again, we have the Ash, but that's only going to stop them for like a turn, only a stopgap measure. And they also have punishment, so they might be able to get their Dogma engine going, but we can already tell that they've used a lot of their Dogma resources pretty much because they didn't search off of that Ecclesia. And so, let's see, they would pass turn, and then for us, we would draw into a copy of Barrage, but we're locked under not using our extra deck due to the punishment. And so from here, what I think the best play would be is to actually activate our copy of Omega that we sent, and we can use this to shuffle maybe a Titanclad back into our extra deck, either Titanclad or maybe even Intis, and then we can use that to send to the grave with Maximus again to deal with the opponent's board. And so in our extra deck right now, we at least still have a second copy of Intis, so it's not super important that we shuffle that back, but Titanclad could keep our engine going, whereas right now we don't really have that much going. And so I think that would be an interesting play. We could also use it to disrupt the opponent, but their graveyard doesn't really have too much right now. But yeah, I think we definitely use Omega to shuffle back our copy of... Oh, or we could shuffle back Punishment. Nah, I think we go with Titanclad. I think in this type of game, you want to keep your engine going. So we activate Omega's effect, shuffle back Titanclad, and then we also can use combo. No, I think we don't want to use combo yet. The extra card would be nice, but putting a zoo monster back in the deck might not be the best yet. We don't want to draw it. Nah, we definitely want the extra card. Card advantage is key here. So activate combo, shuffle back the Thoroughblade and the 4 other Zoodiac Xyz monsters in the extra deck. Then we're going to draw another card. You could argue that we could have done it earlier on the opponent's turn, maybe draw into another hand trap, but we had no hand traps that we could have potentially drawn. Nothing that really would have changed the game, drawing it then versus drawing it now. So this is perfectly fine. So shuffle those back, and then draw for combo. So we drew a Tenki. Again, something that we can't really even use right now because we're locked under punishment, but a good draw nonetheless for next turn. So next turn we're going to have Tenki plus Barrage, so that's going to be very powerful. But from here, I think we go ahead and attempt to use Maximus. And if you're the opponent, I think it's questionable whether or not you want to negate that, especially knowing that they have an Ecclesia in hand because we searched it off of Titanclad last turn. So I think they probably let the Maximus resolve. It's also questionable whether or not we use Maximus, but we know that they've already sent their Titanclad, sent their Entis, and their own combo. And so they can't have that many Dogma cards in their extra deck. There's just not space. And so I think from here we can actually activate it the second time pretty safely. And looking at their extra deck, they don't really have much to dump either. Like, definitely send Omega for them. But after this, it gets kind of tricky. And I think probably Unicorn or IP. Probably IP at this point. So we're starting to really dig into the cards that they don't want to get rid of at this point. Whereas for us, we can dump, let's see, Titanclad and Entis again. And this can be very strong for us. So then we can use Entis to destroy one of their back row. Tough to say what we're going to target. Let's just go from extra deck to main deck. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, we'll reroll 2. So we're going to be targeting their set Imperm. Wow. So from here, yeah, I mean, again, it's questionable whether or not they would have chained it to the Maximus or not. But I think, yeah, I think holding for the Ecclesia for them might just be better. So yeah, we target the Imperm, it just gets destroyed because there's no point in negating a Maximus now. For us, that was very, very lucky because now we can just summon the Ecclesia, activate the effect. From here, Fleurdelis is probably the better card to search because Punishment will lock us out of the extra deck next turn again, whereas now we have follow-up plays. But also the Fleurdelis is going to be better for negating their effects. So let's go ahead and search a copy of Fleurdelis. And then we definitely don't want to leave that token on board, so we should attack over the token. And from here, we're kind of forced just to pass turn. I think for them, they had the option to use Punishment, but there's really nothing on our side of the board that I think is worth destroying. Like, we don't have any big plays that we're really trying to make, and they don't really have much in their extra deck that they could send either, I guess. So tricky to say whether or not they'd use the Punishment, but like, I don't know what you're really scared about here. Like, obviously Maximus was fine, the resolve didn't really hurt them that bad, and then Ecclesia Punishment's not going to stop that either. So do you really waste, like, you probably dump Unicorn or Access Code. Do you waste your Unicorn or your Access Code to destroy an Ecclesia to save a token? I'm not so sure. I think for them, they just go ahead and play standard Eldlich from here, and so they would try to activate the Scarlet, which we would of course Ash to negate. Let's see, Scarlet goes to the grave, and then this puts them on having to draw a monster pretty much, because they could Conquistador and then just get a monster on board, then if they draw another monster they're able to play. But tough to say. I would probably just pass. So you pass, they drew a second copy of Conquistador. That's super dead. In the graveyard, they could use Omega's effect to either disrupt our graveyard, we don't have anything really good in there, or they could shuffle something in there, shuffle something back into their extra deck, maybe like that Needle Fiber, or they could shuffle back Entis, and that could set up their Punishment, shuffling back either Entis or Titanclad. Actually, both of those would be pretty strong. I think I actually like shuffling back the Intis there, yeah. So you would use Omega's effect, shuffle itself back, shuffle back the Intis, and then it's really all you can do. Or Titanclad. Titanclad's not bad either, but it's just like you don't have anything else in the deck because we already drew all of our Dogma cards anyways. And so again, really we're really in a grind game right now. It's where they have no disruption outside of the, not even the Conquistador, and then they have Punishment. So Punishment's really all they have. They can use Scarlet to set another Golden Land, but extra Golden Lands here don't do anything because they don't have any monsters. And so I think you maybe, yeah, I think you still use it. Oops, I meant to banish that. At least this way you could set up getting 2 in the graveyard, and then you could maybe link it to an IP Masquerade. If you shuffle that back with no Mega on next turn, that at least gives you kind of an option. But really, they don't have much going. That Ash on the Scarlet was actually huge. So then they pass turn back to us only on Punishment. We know there's a set Hakero, set Unknown, and that's about it. We draw Thoroughblade for turn. Not a bad draw, not a good draw. But I think from here we can really take over the game because we have our whole Zoodiac extra deck. We have access to Zoodiac Extender, Zoodiac Starters. We also have Tanky, which we could use to get the Rat, to get the Whiptail, which can be very big in this matchup. Also, Drident in general is very big because you can use that to always just chain to their Conquistadors and their Hakeros to negate. Or not to negate, but to destroy so they don't resolve. And so Drident's very big in this matchup. So I think we're actually in a very good position here. We also would have the option to just play like Beatdown, and we know that because they shuffled back into one of those is probably Punishment. So I would definitely be wary about that. So we'd have to think about how we want to play around that. So the best way I think might be to at least go Ram. That way we can't at least get targeted by Punishment. But they could just target one of our other monsters and then dump Intis and then use Intis to destroy the Zoo monster. So kind of tricky here. Hammer Kong would actually be big too, to protect our Zoo monsters from any type of targeting effects. So I think the play here might be to activate Tinky. Use Tinky's effect to search a copy of Ram. Whiptail is also good here. But we can use Barrage for that. Then we normal summon the Thoroughblade, activate the effect, discarding Ram to draw into an Endear Servant. That's pretty huge. And the opponent would have the option here of just destroying the Thoroughblade on summon, which I think is probably correct, just because you don't want to have to deal with like me just like, you could just summon Hammer Kong on top of the Thoroughblade and then barrage away the Tinky, and then you'd be playing under Hammer Kong's protection. Like, there's so many things that you can do once you have a Zoo monster stick that it's better just to deal with a normal summon in like 4 out of 5 times. So I think you do just activate Punishment here, use Punishment, dump Intis. Intis will destroy the Maximus, that way you're not getting more out of the engine like that. So Punishment, destroy Thoroughblade, Maximus gets destroyed by Intis. Then from here, we can activate our copy of Barrage, destroy Tinky, and then we would special, I think, either Bunny Blast or Whiptail. Because Whiptail, I think you really just want to get going in this matchup. Bunny Blast sets up a follow-up play, but even though we already have Barrage, they can always use, they could use a Conquistador, but we can get rid of that pretty easily once we stick a Drident. So Whiptail might actually be better here. Where'd it go? I just saw it. Whiptail. So special summon Whiptail. Then we can Hammer Kong also might be big here, just to again play around, like if they draw Lord, we don't want to have to deal with that. So I think we go Hammer Kong, Shockanine. Activate Shockanine effect, revive the Hammer Kong. Tiger Mortar. Use the effect, and we can put a Ram under the Hammer Kong. That way it has a lot of defense as well. Also, I will say we have the option to go for a lot of damage with a Whiptail play since we have Ram Engrave. But I think this sets up better for the future. I think we're not going for game, so we might as well just make a good setup board. So keep overlaying on top of that Whiptail. And then we can... Let's see, what do we have in the extra deck still? We have Omega. We could set up a... No, yeah, I like Servant here actually as well. So we'd activate Servant. Use that to search another copy of Ecclesia. And let's see, I'm pretty sure we still have the second Fleurdelis. We also have a Maximus still. So we have Fleurdelis, Maximus, and Punishment all in deck still. Yeah, so we have lots of different options here. Just depends on what type of defense we want to go for. And since we already have Fleurdelis, Punishment actually wouldn't be bad. So we could, or Maximus actually too. Since we know the wrong combo, Maximus might actually be very good. So I think we can Ecclesia, go for Maximus. Let's see what we already have in grave. So we could banish an Intis to summon Maximus. Activate Maximus's effect. We can dump Omega and... yeah, Omega App Cologne. Then we can activate App Cologne's effect, search Schism, and then discard it. This at least gets it out of the deck. And if we want it back, we can just add it back with like a Constructs effect. Now we've got the Omega set up at least for more recycle plays. We could go battle phase, and this would be 12, 15, 15, 15. So that's 45, 55, 57. And then we have floor for interruption next turn. Oh wait, no, we have too many monsters now. Yeah, never mind. So we locked ourselves out of Fleurdelis, but so maybe we don't make the Maximus play. That did seem kind of weak. Maybe Punishment's the correct play here. But let's see what the opponent draws. I think we just win this game regardless at this point. But yeah, they draw the Dear Servant, which just isn't going to be enough. Like, they don't have anything in their extra deck to send, and whatever they search, we could negate with Floor. But they can't target anything because of Hammer Kong. I think this game is just won already. So let's actually go ahead and move into the next one to oppose spending too much time in this one matchup. Alright, let's make this the final hand. So for this, we are going to have, let's see, Cosmic, Fleurdelis, Imperm, and Tinky. And then for what we'll be playing against, we will play against 3. So that was Synchro Eldlich, regular Synchro Eldlich. So let's go ahead and draw a hand for them just to see if there are any hand traps that we're going to play into and get potentially wrecked by. We'll see. Let's see, so for Eldlich, they drew a hand of Ash Blossom, Cursed, Lord, Tuning, and Jet. So for us, I think once again, when you have Rat this format, I think you definitely go for a Megaclops play. So this is going to be all in on Megaclops too, and we just kind of be hoping that these double Imperm Cosmic Cyclones can protect our Megaclops. None of these protect from our opponent having an Imperm, but you know, it is what it is. So I think we would Tanky for Rat and normal summon Rat. For our opponent here, I think you definitely Ash Rat. You don't want that to resolve. Like, you don't know what they're gonna do, but you don't want them getting to like a combo or a Ram or something like that. I think you definitely Ash the Rat, if not the Tinky. Tinky's probably best, but like I don't think you Ash just a blind Tinky, probably. I think you let them commit their normal summon to it first, like we did here. And so I think that gets ashed, and then from here we have to just go up our extra deck ladder. I think we at least want to set up a combo. Nah, yeah, you at least set up combo. So I think you go Borbo, Hammer Kong, Tiger Mortar, and Drident. And then we would set double Imperm and Cyclone pass turn. Then for the opponent, they would draw into a copy of, let's see. Oh, they're playing Nib. I forgot I was playing Nib in this deck, because this is the same deck I profiled like a while back. I hadn't updated it. So there's Nib in this deck. So if they drew that, we would have got destroyed on that Zoodiac play. So from here, I think you probably, let's see, activate Cursed. This probably gets hit with the Cyclone. You don't let that go through. So let's go ahead and banish Cursed. Then you use Lord and the tuning to deal with the Drident. Then from here, you have to hope that your Jet Plays goes through. It's kind of all you had in this hand. The Cosmic Cyclone on the Cursed really hurt, because if they had gotten a Golden Land card, then they wouldn't have had to discard the tuning. That could have been an extra mill, plus they would have a Golden Land engraved, which could get them to a Scarlet, more access to Lord, and then be able to continue to play from there. So that would have actually been very big. But I think here, I'm just going to speed their play up a little bit. You obviously discard the Nib, and your Jet's going to be banished when you use the effect. They would end up going into a Needle Fiber, and Needle Fiber is going to get hit with the Imperm. You know, as you saw in the extra deck, they do have a Formula Synchron, which is something that the Dogma version wouldn't have had. So again, you have more space in your extra deck for stuff like that, so that maybe they're going to be able to draw into a card from the Formula Synchron. But once again, we would have been imperming on the Needle Fiber. So then on our next turn, we would draw into a copy of Ecclesia. Normal summon that. That's really big because we needed that interruption there. Or not the interruption, but we needed a starter. And so because we already have Fleurdelis, I think here we probably go for, I actually like Maximus, because they have no other cards. Maximus could get us more into our engine, so that's actually probably a better play. And we know they're on Synchro Eldlich, and we saw that they're playing Nib, and so they're probably not playing Dogma. That's definitely one clue they're not playing Dogma. Let's see. We have no other clues, though. Everything else would be just standard in both builds. But the Nib is a big hint that they're not on the Dogma build, because that deck has so much less main deck space that you really don't have room for as many hand traps and as diverse of a hand trap list. Like, you're going to see Ash, Imperm, maybe Gamma, maybe Ogre, but you're like, Nib is way far down the list of hand traps in this format. So I think it's safe to say that they're not on that. So I think here we would search the Maximus, banish the Tiger Mortar, because again we have multiples of it, so we don't mind banishing it. Banish that for the Maximus. I think attack's appropriate just to push for more damage. Yeah, I think that's probably correct here. And then we can activate Maximus's effect. And let's see, we can dump Ash Dragon, and I think Intis is kind of useless here because they're just going to chain. We could try to attack over the... Yeah, I think we go Battle Phase first, yeah. Yeah, Battle Phase, attack the Needle Fiber with the Ecclesia. That's going to force the effect. Ecclesia can't be destroyed by battle by Needle Fiber, so it's just going to force the effect. Let's see. Battle Phase. I don't want to change phases here just because it's kind of weird, but Battle Phase, attempt to use Needle Fiber's effect. That is fine. We're not going to negate that or anything. They go into a Formula. Formula effect to draw is also fine. They drew into a Lord, whatever. We can attack over it now. I guess in this case we could have just set this in defense, knowing that that would likely happen. This should have been probably the correct play in general. But from here, main phase 2, we could activate the Maximus effect. And now we might want to send Titanclad Intis. And Intis now is going to deal with the Formula, which means that they don't have a tuner on board, because you never want to leave a tuner on board against Synchro Eldlich. So I think this actually deals with them perfectly. Omega would be another good option, since we have Zoo monsters in the graveyard that we might want to shuffle back. That could be pretty good, but this works, I think. So dumping both of those to the graveyard. For the Synchro Eldlich player, let's look at their extra deck. What would they be sending? Definitely Selene. Maybe Auroradon. You don't really need two of those. Unicorn's probably not coming out this match. Same with IP. This also probably not coming out this match. Probably go with Unicorn. Yeah. And then, let's see, we would use Intis to destroy the formula. And let's see, we'd pass turn, activate our Titanclad's effect, and we would use that to search another copy of Ecclesia. We pretty much are going to be playing pure Dogmatika right now. And now, it's arguable whether or not Punishment would have been good to search, but I think the Maximus play was better because it gets us to another copy of Ecclesia, deals with the formula Synchron, and then allows us to play in the future. So I think Maximus was actually pretty good here. Like, once we were able to deduce that the opponent wouldn't be able to profit off of it, I think it works out pretty well. So then from here on the opponent's turn, they draw into Souls. Okay, that's kind of useless because, let's see, they don't have anything really in the graveyard. If they still had Jet Engrave, it would have been pretty solid, but because the Jet's banished, there's really nothing. They could summon Souls. They don't have any spell traps to really use for the effect, or to summon their Lord with, or to use Lord's effect. So I think they probably just pass turn here. Yeah, I think they honestly just pass. And for us, we would draw into a Whiptail. That's actually huge. So we have to assume here that they have hand traps. So we want to play around hand traps as best as we can. And knowing they played Nib, that's actually key information. So how do we play around Nib and still set up a board? I think the way to do that would be to we could go Whiptail, secondary Zoo, Shockanine, Tiger Mortar material under Drident. Make sure I count that correctly. Whip, Shockanine, which would revive Drident, then Tiger Mortar material under Drident. That sets up another negation. Then we could use Maximus effect. Yeah, I think that's the play. So let's see. And we attack first. So battle phase, attack for 42. Main phase 2, we would, let's see, that's 1 summon, 2 summons. Whiptail, revive the Drident. That's 3 summons. And then, whoops, Tiger Mortar over the Shockanine. And then we're going to attach Whiptail under the Drident. So this is 4 summons. Perfect. I wish we were, if we were not playing under Nib, ending on a Hammer Kong here would be big. But that's okay. Also, it would be nice to be able to summon Ecclesia and then search more, but also okay. We don't want to get ruined by Nib here. Nib would like end our whole existence. And so from here, I think we just activate Maximus again, hoping to disrupt the opponent even further. And I think we dump Omega for sure. And then we could go App Clone and get a Schism and get rid of the Ecclesia. That's a play. That's a play I'm not opposed to. It would stop combo. Yeah. So we dump Omega, App Clone. App Cologne effect would get Schism. And then this can dump Ecclesia. Also, the cool thing about Schism in this matchup is you can deal with Lords with this. So if you can summon out a Winda, Schism will destroy the Lord or send the Lord to the graveyard. So we have a way to deal with Lord as well as a way to stop combo. That's another really cool thing about Schism in this matchup. And then as for the opponent, let's look at their extra deck. What would they have sent to the graveyard? I think it's got to be IP and probably Auroradon. It's either Auroradon or Access Code. And at this point, you're not using both your Auroradons, and so you definitely dump one of those. You want to keep Access Code just in case for clearing the opponent's board, or clearing our board, I should say. And so we would be ending our turn with Maximus, Ecclesia, Drident, Thoroughblade, or I'm sorry, Tiger Mortar. We still have that set Imperm as well as a set Schism, so we have 4 forms of disruption here that the opponent's going to have to deal with only 3 cards in hand. So we're in a very good position. We would also have the option of using that Omega that we sent. We can use that to shuffle something back, like a maybe Titanclad into something like that. But nothing here is going to really do anything for us yet. And then for the opponent in their graveyard, we don't have anything that we necessarily want to get rid of outside of maybe the Lord. But again, we're not really worried about them putting a Lord on board because we have the Schism. So that'd be fine. Let's see what they draw for turn. They would draw into a copy of Scarlet. That's actually big, because that's something they could use for Lord to definitely deal with the Schism or with the Drident. But they still don't have combo, and that's the problem here for them. Yeah, they just don't have combo, so they don't have enough plays. So they could maybe use summon Souls, but Souls just gets hit by Drident, but at least it baits out the Drident. Souls could also really just lose to Winda. So like if they activate Soul's effect to summon itself, then we just change Schism, summon Winda, then Winda gets summoned first, then their Souls get summoned. So that's their only special summon. Then Schism would just destroy the Souls and they wouldn't be able to use the effect. Then they could use Lord to discard Scarlet, destroying or sending Winda to the grave, but then they still have no plays outside of maybe use Scarlet to set up a Golden Land, and then Golden Land revive Lord. Lord loses out to Drident, and then in phase Scarlet would once again set something. No, they would have already used Scarlet that turn. Yeah, I think they just lose the game at this point. Drawing the Scarlet was good, but it wasn't good enough. Really, it was the Souls, and our turn was just too good. So I think that's pretty much it for this game. I think we win. Let's see what the next card is. Ogre, some more disruption. And they just don't have a way to deal with Maximus. This next Maximus on our next turn, if we resolve it, would stop their whole combo. They're out of extra things to send to the graveyard. So that would be very strong for us, on top of setting up a board after this point to really deal with their engine well. Like being able to set up a Hammer Kong after here. We have Omega to shuffle back Drident if they are able to deal with it. It would just be too much, I think. So I think this game's pretty much over. But yeah, the Eldlich matchup is such a grind, just because of the Golden Land cards and everything that deck can do. Alright guys, this is taking way longer than I expected it to, but I want to do a few more test hands just the normal way. But let me know what you guys thought about that last idea, like testing our test hands against the top decks in the format. What did you think about that? And how do you think I could improve on this idea, or maybe spice up these test hand videos in other ways? Let me know what you guys think about this. I'd really love some feedback. But again, I do want to show you guys a few more really quick test hands to show you how consistent this deck is. And so let's go ahead and get into that. This is going to be real quick, like rapid fire test hands. And so just gonna shuffle the deck a few times, draw hands, and keep moving. Alright, so Nadir Servant, Desires, Schism, Ecclesia, and Ash. Wow, I wish I could have drawn like this earlier. So with a hand like this, the play is definitely to Desires first, because there's really nothing yet you need to worry about banishing here. You have everything you already need. You already have your Servant, you already have Ecclesia. There's no way you banish both your punishments or both of your Fleurdelises, because we do play 2. So the deck was built with that in mind. I built the deck knowing that I'm playing 3 copies of Desires. I'm gonna banish, a bunch of stuff. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's see what we banished. Bunny Blast, Thoroughblade, Maximus. Combo hurts, but that's fine otherwise. From here we draw into Punishment, into another copy of Servant. So from here we're pretty much playing pure Dogmatika. So we could drop Ecclesia, use the effect to go for a probably, oh wait a minute, we actually Nadir Servant for Maximus first. So activate Servant, search Maximus, and then we could dump something to the graveyard to set it up, and then pretty much play this out from here. Because we already have the Schism, we'd be able to maybe set up a Winda play, then we'd still have the Fleurdelis that we can search off of a Titanclad, and then Punishment as well. So this will be a pretty strong pure Dogmatika hand. Although we play 10 Zoodiac cards, we're not going to draw them all the time, but we usually will. But let's go ahead and get into this next hand. Again, I want to keep this really quick and not play things out too much. I just want to show you guys what the deck's going to look like when you play it and how consistent it's going to be. So let's shuffle a little bit more, do some final cuts, and let's see. Ogre, Cosmic, Ash, Thoroughblade, and Tinky. So with a hand like this, I think you want to go for I would go for Megaclops personally. And so for that, you would activate Tinky, use Tinky to search a Ram, and then you're going to use Thoroughblade to get that into the grave. The other good thing about this is using Thoroughblade's effect gives you an opportunity to maybe draw into like a Servant, Ecclesia, or for a Maximus. So you have 8 cards that you really want to draw, versus if you just Tinkied for Rat and then normal summon the Rat, then you don't get that same opportunity to draw another card. So I definitely like this play a little bit more. So Thoroughblade effect. Oh look, we did draw into a Maximus. So this would be full combo, and like Megaclops, Maximus, search Schism, and then we would end on Winda, Megaclops, Ash, Ogre, Cosmic Cyclone, which is, no, we wouldn't have the Cosmic. We'd probably discard this for App Cologne, but this would still be a pretty ridiculous board. Most likely an auto win in most cases if the opponent does not have an Imperm. Like Ash wouldn't even stop this at that point. Or Gamma. So Imperm or Gamma would be the only potential outs that would be commonly played in most decks. Alright, let's draw another hand. Punishment, Cosmic, Ogre, Desires, and Thoroughblade. So this is another hand where we have the Desires first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we banished both copies of Fleurdelis. That sucks. Ram sucks, but otherwise we're good to go. Then we draw into Maximus and Barrage. So with a hand like this, you definitely have a good access to your Zoodiac engine. So if your main Zoo play gets stopped, you still have Barrage. You could also just use Barrage as a follow-up. And you have Maximus as well. And while we don't have Fleurdelis, we still would be able to set up a Shaddoll play. Or we could just set up more of our engine with Titanclad. So you really have a lot of options here. Definitely a strong hand. Let's go ahead and do another. Let's see, Ogre, Fleurdelis, Imperm, Combo, and Ram. So this hand isn't the best because we just have Zoo, Fleurdelis is dead, Combo's kind of dead, but at least we'd be able to put some interruptions on board. So with this hand, we would at least have Drident, Imperm, Ogre as disruptions. Then we'd have Combo to help us set up an efficiency play. Fleurdelis would help on our next turn, and then next turn we would draw Schism that actually really sucks. What would we draw after that? Another Imperm. So this hand we'd probably lose this duel because we don't really have the ability to play the control because we don't have that many resources, just pretty much sitting on a Drident and interruptions, but we don't have a way to really push for game or push for damage. And so we probably end up losing this game to most top decks. Like we don't draw Desires for 3 turns. The combo resolving would be huge, but that would depend on the opponent dealing with the Drident on board, so that we will be able to put the Zoodiac monsters in the grave for it. So that would be kind of tricky. Or we could also follow up ourselves and try to fill our grave, but that could be risky. I think we probably lose a game with this type of hand. Because again, no real ability to play the control because we don't have any actual efficiency plays. We can't play the beatdown either. That would have been tough. But let's keep it moving. Do maybe 1 or 2 more test hands. Imperm, Rat, Ecclesia, broken, Imperm, and Ash. So this is a really strong hand. Obviously, Ecclesia plus Rat is full combo. Then we already have 3 other forms of disruption on top of that. So really this hand is an auto win. If you guys would like to see the combo for that, definitely check out the combo video. But this next hand's going to be the last. So hopefully it's going to be good. Alright, we'll do one final cut and draw into this hand. So we have Punishment, Rat again, Cosmic, Barrage, and Ram. So pretty okay hand here. I think what I would personally do is I'd like to go for a Thoroughblade play here, because I want to see that Nadir Servant or that Ecclesia, Maximus, or maybe just more hand traps. I feel like this hand right here is very weak because there's so many Zoo monsters. You pretty much, with just this, would be ending on Zoo plus Punishment. So I would like to probably Barrage into a Thoroughblade, dump Ram, and then from there, see what we draw off of that and continue to play from there. That also sets up a potential Megaclops play as well. So I think that's likely the route I would take this hand. But of course, you could also just take it safe, normal summon Rat, dump Bunny Blast, set up a follow-up play, or dump combo, and do something like that as well. So you have a couple different options, but I like the Barrage play. So Barrage, destroy itself, which always feels bad to have to do. You could also do this. You could normal summon Rat, use Rat's effect to dump combo or Bunny Blast. Probably combo. Yeah. Use that to dump combo. And then you could, since we don't need the Rat, we could just Barrage it away. And then go for a Thoroughblade. And then from here, use Thoroughblade's effect, discarding the Ram. And then we draw into another card. And this would allow us to keep continuing our plays. Now, we didn't draw into that Ecclesia, that Nadir Servant, or that Maximus that we were looking for. But we did draw into a triple attack, which isn't terrible. And so if our opponent did try to hand trap us, like maybe they had a Gamma, or this wouldn't do anything against Imperm, Ash wouldn't do anything at this point, Ogre doesn't do anything after this point, so really it's just Gamma that we'd be worried about. And if they were to Gamma us, let's see what the next two cards are, just in case we would decide to do that. It would be Ecclesia Tinky, which is not bad. But pretty much this hand would just be Megaclops Punishment, which is actually a pretty good board, considering that even though Punishment locks you out of the extra deck, you can always just use Megaclops to revive your Drident, to revive your Shaka 9 and stuff like that back from the graveyard, and then pretty much play out of your graveyard until you're able to access your extra deck. You get extra deck again, and then from there we'd have like Barrage to make a lot of plays. And so if we were to just play that out, actually we could, yeah, why not? Let's go Shaka 9, effect, revive Ram, Drident destroy Ram, revive the Shaka 9. Oops, not Hammer Kong. Tiger Mortar on top of the Drident. Attach material to Shaka 9, then use Shaka 9 to revive Drident. Link these three away for a Megaclops. So we'd have Megaclops set up, set Cosmic, set Punishment, and pass turn. On the opponent's turn, Punishment will be pretty strong, especially considering that we could dump Titanclad, and then that could give us access to Dogmatika Engine, or we could dump Intis to, pop a couple of cards, or we could dump Apclone, set up a Schism play for the next turn. That could also be a play. So we got a lot of options here, but I think the Megaclops Punishment Cosmic is most likely going to get us there in most matchups, unless their 6th card would be like Imperm or something. The downside is triple attack, which you guys can see here is like good when you get hand trapped, kind of like being able to have drawn into that Ecclesia would have been neat, but at the same time it doesn't make a huge difference if you don't get hand trapped, or if you get Imperm, it doesn't make a big difference. And so I am kind of considering switching this out for Forbidden Droplets. That's something I'm still kind of on the fence about, but triple attack is still a very good card in general, especially when going second, which you guys didn't get a chance to see in this video, but going second, this can be very good for clearing boards and dealing with whatever your opponent may have on field or in hand, really, or just drawing more cards again. Still, all the effects are very, very relevant going second. And so this would be what that final hand gets us. But alright guys, that's pretty much it for this Dogmatika Zoodiac test hand video. Once again, let me know what you guys thought about kind of the first part of this video, first 80% of it, testing against those other decks and looking at how the games would actually play out versus just doing the quick draw hands and seeing what we can do with each hand. What do you guys think about those two styles of test hand videos? Which would you prefer? What would you like to see? What corrections or adjustments could be made to make these videos even better? I'd really appreciate any and all feedback, but as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you want to see the combo video, definitely check that out, or the deck profile. You can check that out as well. So there's a ton of Dogmatika Zoo content on this channel already that I've been uploading a lot lately. So hopefully you guys aren't too tired of that. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.